Hi and welcome to section number 8, creating a test suite. In this section we will not learn many new stuff, we will mainly focus on applying what we already learned. And first we will get familiar with application under test, then we'll make a suite preparation, then we will create few login page test cases, after which we will continue with new test cases which will be based on submitting the form. Then I will show one very basic example of using a beautiful soup or data scraping, and at the end we will put everything together, run some tests, see some results, and give some final comments and conclude this tutorial. So let's get started with suite preparation. In this video I will talk about application under test. We will see what is it and what we want to test and demonstrate. Then we will define a few test cases in a written form as we talked about earlier. After that I will create POM code structure or page object model structure, and then create some additional unit test code structure for running the suites. So this is the application that I chose for demonstrating the test suite. It's Orange HRM or HR Management open source web app. And this is the demo that is publicly available. It's on opensource-demo.orangehrmlive.com. And here you can see the admin username and password available to log in. So let's log in and see what is the application inside. And this is the main dashboard, and we see that there is a typical application style with the top menu with drop-down menus below. And what we want to present here is maybe few login test cases, how to log into application, if it's gonna return error code if we do unsuccessful login or give incorrect credentials. Then after that we can go to, for example, admin tab and then job titles. Let's see what's there. Yes, there are different job titles. We can add one of the job titles. We will put anything here just to see if the application is working as expected. We will create just the basic test cases, nothing advanced, just to demonstrate the creation of the test suite. Okay, now the next step what we want to do is to create test cases. So here I prepare in VS Code, I prepare one README file, which is basically definition of test cases in a written form with the steps that we already saw. But to be more nicely presented, I will present it here already, this markdown document in GitHub. So here we have a table of 3 test cases for login page loaded, successful login, and fail login. Here I put a bit of description. On login page loaded, we will check if the key elements on the page are loaded. Then successful login will be one sunny day scenario where we'll put correct username and password and verify that we are successfully logged in. Last, third test case would be what will happen and will we get the error message for incorrect password. Then I put here more detailed steps. We will have precondition steps and expected results as a template for each test case definition. So this one would be verify login panel exists, verify username input field exists, and password field as well, and then login button exists and enabled for click. And all the tests should be passed as expected. Next test case would be to do username admin, put into the username field, same for password, click on login button and see that we have redirected to the dashboard correctly by checking the URL and also verify the dashboard is loaded. We will see in the code how will we implement this. Last test case would be to enter incorrect password, and then we will verify that the expected error message is displayed. Okay, so now we can go to the VS Code and see what I already prepared for the page object model structure. As we already saw, we will have one page.py where we will have loaded the Selenium WebDriver additional and models that we will use. we will define one base page class that will have the common functionalities on a web page. I put there click, hover to, and assert element text. This is what we already use when we were demonstrating some of the page object model functionalities. And we use here WebDriver wait for 10 seconds until the visibility of the element is located. We pass the locator here, which will be, I named this variable by locator because we will use later this in the locator section. Then we will just click on this. On the hover tool, we will perform a hover movement of the mouse by using action chains. And here in the last one, we will do assertion of element text. The first derived class that we will use is for the first 3 test cases, which is a login page. It's derived from a base page class. And only thing that we do is basically to redirect the new instance of WebDriver to go to the desired URL, which is specified here by self-driver get. Okay, this is the page module. Then we go to the locators. Here I only use this, I import this WebDriver common by, which will be used to specify each locator that we need. There is a common page locators and login page locators, which are now at the moment empty. We will fill them in as we need the locators for the page. Then, if we want to continue with creating tests, this will be in test_all.py, and we will import here unit test module. We already will start with creating a structure for a suite to be using a unit test. Also, we here import Selenium WebDriver. From page, we will import login page, and from locators, we will import common and login page locators, as we defined them earlier. Then we will have, let's say, a unit test base class, but here it's the old name that I copied from the last. We can change this to HRM, and then the same, we will rename it here. Next thing what we want to do in the setup, we will initiate or instantiate WebDriver. It will be Chrome and headless Chrome with window size of 1920 1080 pixels. In the teardown method, we will use driver quit to close the instance of the WebDriver or the browser. And we have the test login class, which is derived from the HRM base class. And what we will do here, we will set up and in teardown, we will not do anything here. Only in setup, we will just basically create an instance of login page, which is expected since we are now creating a class for login page. And we will have defined 3 test cases as we defined them previously in the readme or test case definition file. And we have all these test cases now empty. We will fill them in later on. To run the whole suite, we will just import from test all. We will import test login class, which we will later add in each test case. For now, here we define one function that will instantiate test suite, part of the unit test module, and we will return this suite, after which we will use it in test suite runner or unit test runner.